David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight, breaking news, at least 6 American service members now killed after the attack on Iran. The Pentagon confirming 6 U.S. service members have been killed after Iran struck a tactical operations center in Kuwait. Also tonight here, harrowing images showing an American F-15 fighter jet falling from the sky. One of 3 F-15s shot down over Kuwait by friendly fire. All 6 crew members ejecting safely. Tonight, the U.S. now sending additional troops to the region. President Trump back at the White House, not ruling out American boots on the ground. And late today, Secretary of State Marco Rubio and the evolving explanation about why the U.S. attacked Iran when it did. Ian Pannell standing by live from the region with late reporting. Tonight, the war escalating across the region now, and just in, the U.S. State Department is now urging all Americans to leave the Middle East. The growing conflict now involving at least 11 countries. A hotel struck in the UAE. Travelers evacuated from one of the world's busiest airports. And just in tonight, after at least 3 ships were attacked, Iran now saying the Strait of Hormuz, where much of the world's oil passes through, is now closed. What does this mean for oil prices moving forward? James Longman standing by live in Turkey. Tonight, ABC News with new satellite images showing the extent of the U.S. military operation. Iranian Navy ships on fire, a nuclear complex hit. Martha Raddatz shows us what's been destroyed. The threat here in the U.S. tonight after the attack on Iran, the FBI now investigating a horrific and deadly shooting. The suspect with a rifle wearing a T-shirt with the Iranian flag. And what was found in his vehicle? 2 American college students killed, many others wounded. In other news tonight, the dramatic images on the runway, a United Airlines flight landing, reports of an engine fire, and then the emergency slides. Passengers can be seen running from the plane. The Nancy Guthrie disappearance, and tonight, Savannah Guthrie, her sister and brother-in-law, returning to Nancy Guthrie's home. Their tears laying flowers at the memorial left outside the home by the community. And what the sheriff is now saying tonight. We're tracking snow and rain moving into the Northeast, Philadelphia, New York, right up to Boston, and then the major change right behind it. And the beautiful sight in the sky coming tonight. When to look, and you'll be joined by billions.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. We begin tonight here with the breaking news, the U.S. military operation in Iran. The Pentagon now confirming 6 American troops have been killed after Iran attacked a tactical operations center in Kuwait. And tonight, the dramatic images coming in, an F-15 American fighter jet seen falling from the sky, one of 3 hit by friendly fire over Kuwait, struck by Kuwaiti defense systems, all 6 crew members ejecting safely. U.S. Central Command releasing new images tonight saying B-1 bombers struck deep inside Iran, targeting the regime's ballistic missile capabilities. Explosions rocking Tehran for a 3rd day now, black smoke seen rising from buildings. More than 1,200 targets reportedly hit in 48 hours. Iran tonight expanding its retaliation and oil facility in Saudi Arabia among the new targets. At least 11 countries have now been pulled into this war. Late today, Secretary of State Marco Rubio briefing lawmakers, offering a new explanation in front of the cameras about why the U.S. struck Iran when it did. President Trump making his first public comments from the White House today, saying he's not ruling out American troops on the ground in Iran if necessary. ABC's chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell leading us off from the region again tonight.
Tonight, the U.S. death toll rising as the war against Iran escalates. The Pentagon now confirming 6 American service members have been killed after an Iranian attack on a tactical operations center in Kuwait. At least 18 more service members have been seriously wounded in this operation, as the U.S. now says it's sending more forces into the region. President Trump saying he's not ruling out U.S. forces on the ground. And of the operation, he says the biggest wave is coming soon. In his initial words after the attack, the president talking about regime change, but during his first public comments at the White House today, offering this rationale for attacking Iran.
An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be an intolerable threat to the Middle East, but also to the American people. Our country itself would be under threat
And late today, Secretary of State Marco Rubio and the evolving message, now saying Israel was about to attack Iran and that the U.S. attacked to defend itself from Iran's potential retaliation.
There absolutely was an imminent threat, and the imminent threat was that we knew that if Iran was attacked, and we believed they would be attacked, that they would immediately come after us. And we were not going to sit there and absorb a blow before we responded. Obviously, we were aware of Israeli intentions and understood what that would mean for us.
The president warning the U.S. military operation could last several weeks, but signaling it could go even longer.
Whatever the time is, it's okay. Whatever it takes, we will always, and we have right from the beginning, we projected 4 to 5 weeks. But we have capability to go far longer than that.
Video posted online showing just how dangerous that mission is. A U.S. warplane on fire, spiraling out of control. One of 3 U.S. F-15 fighter jets shot down over Kuwait by friendly fire. The pilots safely ejecting.
You're safe.
All 6 survived. And tonight, the Pentagon releasing a detailed timeline of how the attack unfolded. At 3:38 Eastern, Friday afternoon, President Trump giving the green light while on a visit to Texas.
The president directed, and I quote, "Operation Epic Fury is approved. No aborts. Good luck," close quote.
The Pentagon saying the U.S. first knocked out Iran's defense and radar systems, crippling their ability to see, communicate and respond. Then at 1:15 Eastern Saturday morning, 9:45 a.m. Tehran time, the U.S. and Israel launching major combat operations. A first wave of more than 100 warplanes sweeping in, bombing targets.
This was a daylight strike based on a trigger event conducted by the Israeli Defense Forces, enabled by the U.S. intelligence community.
That trigger event, sources say, was based on CIA and Israeli intelligence. When officials learned Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei was above ground in his office meeting with top officials Saturday morning, the timing of the attack was moved up. The CIA had been tracking the Ayatollah for months, down to his daily routine. The White House releasing images of President Trump monitoring the attack in real time from Mar-a-Lago. The president today saying the Ayatollah was having breakfast at the time of the attack and thought he was safe because it was broad daylight. Trump says 49 leaders were killed in the strike, the Ayatollah's wife reportedly among the dead. The U.S. striking more than 1,200 targets in the first 48 hours. Explosions ripping through neighborhoods in Tehran. B-2 stealth bombers dropping 2,000-pound bombs on underground facilities. The strikes targeting Iranian ballistic missile capabilities, their missile launchers, fighter jets. Multiple Iranian Navy ships attacked, sinking into the water. Iran's Revolutionary Guard headquarters destroyed. U.S. B-1 long-range bombers taking off in the darkness, striking missile systems deep inside Iran. Iran unleashing a deadly barrage of missile and drone attacks on U.S. bases and countries in the region. Retaliation for the supreme leader's assassination. Iran says hundreds have been killed in U.S.-Israeli attacks, that a school and a hospital have been hit. Qatar now saying it shot down 2 Iranian bombers. The first report of Iran sending warplanes into Qatar's airspace, an ominous sign this war is widening. Tonight, Secretary Pete Hegseth addressing concerns the U.S. might get dragged into another protracted war in the Middle East.
We didn't start this war, but under President Trump, we are finishing it. This is not Iraq. This is not endless.
David, the president warning there could be more casualties in an operation that looks like it's going to go on far longer than initially predicted. David?
Ian Pannell leading us off here again tonight. Ian, thank you. And tonight, just a short time ago, the U.S. State Department now urging all Americans to leave the Middle East. The growing conflict now pulling in at least 11 countries, and Iran tonight saying that the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the world's oil passes through, is now closed. James Longman from Turkey tonight.
Chaos across the Middle East tonight as the war further engulfs this entire region. Iran now involving at least 11 countries, including Cyprus, the first European nation and home to an important UK airbase in the Mediterranean. The EU and NATO now forced to defend their facilities, but say they won't join in US and Israeli operations in Iran. But other allies in the Gulf are weighing their options as their citizens now become targets. In videos circulating online, explosions rocking the UAE, a luxury hotel in Dubai on fire, and in Bahrain, a missile hitting a high-rise residential building. Scenes like this across the region too. Police clashing with pro-Iranian protesters storming US embassies. The US is investigating a large fire at its embassy in Kuwait. And in Jordan, all personnel are temporarily leaving because of an unnamed threat. Tonight, the State Department is now urging all Americans to leave the Middle East, citing serious safety risks. But for those trying to get out, airspace is on lockdown. This flight tracker shows just how many flights are staying away. The world's biggest airport, Dubai, reopened for the first time in days after being targeted multiple times. Watch as smoke fills this terminal after a drone strike. Israel is now expanding its operation to Lebanon and to Iranian proxy Hezbollah, while Iranian proxies in northern Iraq attack US positions. Iran is widening its response, now aiming to paralyze the economic lifeblood of this region, oil and gas production. Iranian drones aimed at the biggest refineries from Qatar to Saudi Arabia. This facility usually has a capacity of 550,000 barrels a day, now reportedly halted after debris from a drone sparked a fire. Satellite images reveal the damage.
And tonight, David, with oil prices jumping just moments ago, Iran warned it will set fire to any ship that tries to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. That's the vital shipping lane where some 20% of the world's oil and gas passes. David.
James Longman live in Turkey tonight. James, thank you. Tonight, ABC News with new satellite images here showing the extent of the U.S. military operation. Iranian Navy ships on fire, a nuclear complex hit. Martha Raddatz shows us what's been destroyed.
The U.S. Israeli strikes across Iran have been vast and relentless, missiles pounding close to 2,000 targets in at least 50 locations. New satellite images shared with ABC News show extensive damage at the Konarak air, drone, and naval bases in southern Iran. Multiple Iranian ships on fire at Bandar Abbas naval base. These images of an Iranian warship blown apart by a U.S. missile strike. And at Iran's Natanz nuclear complex, these just-released images show damage on numerous buildings.
This was a massive, overwhelming attack across all domains.
A major focus of the strikes, Iran's missile launchers, its stockpiles, and those deadly one-way attack drones that are now wreaking havoc across the Gulf, hitting both civilian and military targets. But as many targets as the U.S. and Israel have hit, Iran still has thousands of missiles in its arsenal that still pose a significant threat. And David, the U.S. is taking out as many Iranian targets as possible, like those ships at Bandar Abbas Naval Base, a principal target. David?
Martha Raddatz with us again tonight. Martha, thank you. At the White House tonight, President Trump not ruling out U.S. troops on the ground in Iran if necessary. And what the president told ABC News when asked who could lead Iran next, saying it's not going to be anyone we were thinking of because they're all dead. Here's Rachel Scott.
Tonight, President Trump declaring the United States will easily prevail in the new war he just launched in the Middle East.
We have the strongest and most powerful by far military in the world, and we will easily prevail.
The president dismissing concerns he'll tire of the fight if it lasts beyond the 4 to 5 weeks he's projected.
Somebody said today, they said, oh, well, the president wants to do it really quickly. After that, he'll get bored. I don't get bored. There's nothing boring about this.
President Trump did not fully lay out his case for war to the American people before launching the attack. And tonight, the commander-in-chief sending mixed messages on how it will end and what he sees as Iran's next chapter. Over the weekend, he said he hopes Iran's Revolutionary Guard and police, which have brutally repressed Iranians for decades, would, quote, peacefully merge with the Iranian patriots and would work together as a unit. So far, there's been no evidence that that's happening. And overnight, the president telling our John Carl that before the strikes, he had identified some possible future leaders of Iran. But Trump telling John the attack was so successful, it knocked out most of the candidates, adding it's not going to be anyone that we were thinking of because they're all dead. Second or third place is dead. Tonight, I asked the president about the prospect of American boots on the ground.
Mr. President, are you considering sending troops in? Will you send troops in?
The president did not answer. The president is now not ruling out sending American troops on the ground in Iran. He says this whole campaign could last 4 to 5 weeks, but he also said it could go a lot longer, David.
Rachel Scott at the White House tonight. Rachel, thank you. And to the threat here in the U.S. after the attack on Iran, the FBI tonight now investigating a deadly shooting. The suspect with a rifle wearing a T-shirt with the Iranian flag. Here's Pierre Thomas.
Today, FBI officials confirming that they're urgently trying to determine why that gunman who went on a murderous rampage in Austin, Texas, was wearing a T-shirt bearing the flag of Iran only hours after the U.S. launched that massive attack, killing the supreme leader. You can see that T-shirt in the startling new photograph of the gunman who was killed in a confrontation with police early Sunday morning. The gunman seen here holding a rifle wearing a sweatshirt with the words "Property of Allah," officially identified as Jaga Jung, 53, a U.S. naturalized citizen originally from Senegal. Sources telling ABC News, in addition to the flag, authorities have discovered writings about Iran and its leadership after searching his car and other properties. More than a dozen wounded, 2 killed. Today we learned their identities. 2 college students, one from Texas Tech and the other from the University of Texas, Austin. And today, more signs of increased security. We learned Capitol Police will have a show of force in response to the U.S. Israeli campaign against Iran. David?
Pierre Thomas tonight. Pierre, thank you. To other news, the frightening moments on the runway at LAX. A United Airlines flight, reports of an engine fire. The emergency slides, passengers then running from the plane. Here's Trevor Ault.
Tonight, a terrifying escape from a plane with its engine on fire. Passengers evacuating on slides after this Boeing 787 Dreamliner landed at Los Angeles International Airport.
Leave all bags. I repeat, do not bring your bags.
In this video, you can hear the crew telling the 256 passengers on board to leave their bags and get down those slides as fast as they can. United Airlines Flight 2127 took off for Newark around 11 o'clock local time, but soon had to turn around and come back. Listen to the pilot.
We are going to evacuate. People will be coming out the right side, the side toward the runway.
Airport officials ordering a ground stop as crews on the tarmac worked to put out the fire. It took nearly an hour before they could tow the plane out of the area. And David, only minor injuries were reported. The FAA is now investigating. David?
Trevor Ault with the dramatic images tonight. Thank you. Now to the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. Today, Savannah Guthrie, her sister and brother-in-law tearfully laying flowers at the memorial outside their mother's home created by the community. Here's Aaron Katersky.
Tonight, for the first time since their mother was abducted a month ago, Savannah Guthrie, her sister and her brother-in-law making an emotional visit to Nancy Guthrie's home. The family sobbing, holding one another, and laying flowers at the growing garden beneath the mailbox of yellow blooms, ribbons, candles, and notes expressing hope for Nancy's return. Savannah then sharing this photo on Instagram, writing, "We feel the love and prayers from our neighbors, from the Tucson community, and from around the country." The family has offered a $1 million reward for Nancy's recovery, and Savannah is begging whoever knows where she is to please be the one that brings her home.
And tonight, David, the sheriff says he believes DNA is still a viable lead, a possible way to identify a suspect. David?
Let's hope so. Aaron Katersky on this again tonight. Thank you, Aaron. When we come back, more news ahead here tonight. We're tracking this storm moving into the Northeast, how much snow and where tomorrow. And there's going to be something spectacular in the sky tonight. The best time to see it in a moment here. Tonight here, we're tracking this wintry mix, snow and rain moving into the Northeast tomorrow morning. New York City can expect snow and rain followed by scattered showers. Boston and parts of New England, 3 to 6 inches of snow, much warmer by midweek, and New York City in the 60s by next weekend. When we come back here, the special honor today for the late Jesse Jackson and the stunning sight in the sky tonight. The best time to look in a moment here. To the index honoring the late Reverend Jesse Jackson in his home state of South Carolina. Jackson lying in state at the State House in Columbia, near where he grew up. Thousands paying their respects today. The funeral is this weekend in Chicago. When we come back here tonight, something beautiful in the sky tonight. If you look, you'll be joined by billions.
ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, sponsored by Chewy.
Tonight, before we go, a beautiful sight for nearly 3 billion people all over the world coming overnight. A total lunar eclipse creating a blood moon when the Earth moves directly between the sun and the moon, casting a shadow. The moon will appear a deep reddish orange color. A partial eclipse at 4:50 a.m. Eastern. The total lunar eclipse around 6 a.m. Send us your pics. I'm David Muir. I'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Good night.
David Muir, the most trusted anchor in America, the most watched anchor in America. Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir the #1 newscast in America.